Let's get right to the heart of it. For a century, the machinery of power has depended on keeping people hypnotized by performance. The old world, the one our grandparents fought and bled to survive, built its legitimacy on solemnity. The kind that could make even the most brutal regime look like it was fulfilling some sacred duty. Flags, uniforms, mass rallies, the stone-faced leader on the balcony. That was fascism's theater. It manufactured seriousness because that's what held people in awe. And for a long time, it worked. But the joke, when it finally landed, was that the emperor had no clothes. The moment Chaplin put on the uniform in The Great Dictator and started goose-stepping around, the solemnity collapsed into laughter, and the spell was broken. Satire worked because the regime needed people to believe in the mask. But the world doesn't run on solemnity anymore. We're living in the age of spectacle. The men who would be kings now play to the camera, not the balcony. They've ditched the marble halls for the ring lights and the meme wars. Today's right wing isn't projecting strength through gravitas. They're running a pro wrestling script day in and day out. And the joke is always on anyone who expects them to break character. This is politics as kayfabe, a never-ending work, a reality show where nothing is true but the heat of the feud and the chant of the crowd. The con isn't hidden. The con is the show. It's not subtle. You can't lampoon it because you can't satirize what's already absurd on purpose. That's the move. When the new reactionaries realized solemnity was a liability, they leaned all the way into performance. They invited every accusation, every parody, every fact check, because all of it just feeds the story. Their audience doesn't care if it's real. They just want to feel like they're part of the drama. Try to point out the lie, and you're not a critic. You're a character. Satire becomes a prop. You become another bit in the act. This is why, for anyone who wants to build something real, the only winning move is to step off the stage entirely. Sincerity isn't a pose. It's the refusal to play a role. I'm not interested in the feud. I'm not here to win a meme war. I don't care about the narrative they're selling, because what's broken in America isn't that our politics are unserious. It's that we've lost the ability to tell the difference between spectacle and substance. The machinery of power has collapsed into a loop of clowns mocking clowns, all while the ground beneath us gets pulled out by the people who still know how to cash a check. That's why I run straight past the circus. I'm not going to waste your time pointing out the clown makeup on my opponent. That's their whole business model. I don't say her name. I don't bother pretending we're in some cage match for your attention. Because there's work to be done. And the work is real. Housing sovereignty, time sovereignty. These are not ideas for the camera. They are not lines in a script. They are the concrete, material conditions that determine whether you are free or not, whether your future belongs to you or to a landlord or a boss or an algorithm. You shouldn't have to choose between living and surviving, between presence and anxiety, between hope and hustle. That's what the Enlightenment was supposed to guarantee. Freedom as a lived reality, not just a story told on the 4th of July. But we live in a country where the most basic forms of security, shelter, time, belonging, are rationed out like prizes in a rigged contest. That's not a law of nature. That's the architecture of the endarkenment. It's the engineered scarcity, the manufactured anxiety, the sense that everything is temporary and everyone is replaceable. This is not just policy failure. It's spiritual warfare waged through bureaucracy and rent extraction. The spectacle distracts you, so the system can keep picking your pocket. There is no clever takedown that fixes that. There is only the work of construction, building institutions, building homes, building new rhythms of life that are immune to the pole of the carnival. That's why I talk about housing as sovereignty. It's not just about rent or mortgages. It's about rooting liberty in the ground you stand on. It's about making sure that nobody, no matter how powerful or petty, can evict you from your own future. You want to break the cycle? You start there. You give people permanence. You give them the right to be present. Same goes for time. The 40-hour work week is a monument to managed decline. It's a way of keeping us too tired, too anxious, too distracted to organize. The real revolution isn't another protest on the weekend. It's taking back the hours of your life and refusing to rent them out for pennies on the dollar. The Workweek Liberation Act is a blueprint for that reality. 4 days, 4 hours a day. No loss in pay, no loss in dignity. Time isn't a luxury. It's the foundation of freedom. If you don't control your time, you don't control your life. This is what it means to do politics in the age of Kayfabe. You don't fight the character. You build a world where the script doesn't matter. You move the stage. You don't get dragged into the feud because you're too busy pouring the foundation for something permanent. Satire can't puncture the performance, but clarity can cut right through it. When you refuse to react, when you refuse to play your part, you rob the spectacle of its fuel. I'm not running to be the hero of some morality play. I'm not here to defeat a villain or win a title belt. I'm here to re-anchor our sense of possibility, to build liberty where it can't be revoked, to make solidarity material, not rhetorical, to make dignity a condition, not an aspiration. The people of this state deserve more than a new champion in the ring. They deserve a future that isn't mortgaged to the whims of spectacle. So I'm not going to play along. I'm not going to answer the clowns or the kayfabe. I'm running straight past them. The only way out of this era is through sincere clarity. Clarity about what's broken. Clarity about what's possible. Clarity about who benefits from the chaos. You want change? Don't look for it in the script. Look for it in the work that nobody else is doing. Look for it in the homes that don't have landlords, in the hours that aren't owned by a timesheet. In the eyes of people who know they're free, not because someone told them a story, but because they can feel it in their bones. That's the world I'm building. And if you're ready to step off the stage and join me in the real work, you'll find that clarity is contagious. It spreads, it sticks. It's the one thing that survives the spectacle. And it's the only cure for a politics that's forgotten what seriousness really means.